Oh yeah, so that was rewinding at the end, which is why it had that weird kind of whatever. Hi, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where I seem to have a very greasy face for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. It's nice here, but it's a little muggy, so maybe that's what's happening. Or maybe that's just who I am now. Greasy faced kid. Anyways, so we watch old 16mm films, and that last film was called Gay 90s Live Again. And it's very unlikely that most of that footage was from the 1890s. I would say that footage was from the early 1900s. So there was definitely Trip Down Market Street, which was 1906, just weeks before the San Francisco earthquake. There was footage from the teens, maybe dipping into the 20s a little bit, maybe some stuff from the 1890s, but there wasn't a whole lot of footage shot during that time period. So this is a Castle film, which was meant this was distributed for home viewing. So there's an 8mm version of this, and this is a 16. And it's from all over the place. So they basically just sourced footage from whatever they could find. So it's, I would question the 1890s aspect of it. This next film is for the next 60 seconds.
Emergency broadcast system. For the next 60 seconds, this station will be conducting a test. A tone beep will sound. This is only a test. Broadcasters in your area, in voluntary cooperation with the CRTC and other authorities, have developed this system to keep you informed in the event of an emergency. If this had been an emergency, you would have been instructed where to tune in your area for news and information. This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
So I'm guessing this is an early 80s film. I didn't do a quick check to see if I had any more info on that. I guess I can do that while we're here. One resource that I use a lot is WorldCat, which has a lot of information about films and who holds the films. Although some of that information about who holds the films is says according to WorldCat's 1981. Supposedly UC Berkeley has it, and University of British Columbia Library has it. But you can't be sure because sometimes you reach out to those entities and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we purged all our 16." Anyways, this next film is I believe this is a Screen News Digest, and or a Screen Science Digest. But anyways, this is biomedicine rebuilds the human anatomy.
Events of the past and present shape tomorrow. Our vital concern is you, today's youth, for our future depends on you. Before attempting to figure out where we're all going, it is imperative for us to have a strong awareness of where we have been. To untangle today's problems, we need to understand yesterday. This film series hopefully will in part make you aware of people, places, and events which have helped shape our nation and our world. Manufacturers Hanover is pleased to sponsor this educational film. Manufacturers Hanover, it's banking the way you want it to be.
Medicine has long been a collaborative effort of researchers, practitioners, and other health experts. Today, scientists and engineers are joining in this worldwide effort, now called collaborative biomedicine or biomedical engineering. At the Johns Hopkins Medical Institutions and at the Applied Physics Laboratory, problems are being solved in medicine and biology. By seeking new fundamental knowledge and developing new research tools, therapeutic devices, and data handling systems. Progress in the field is illustrated by a report on the Total Artificial Heart Project. Julie Martin is a clear benefactor of biomedical engineering. Julie's first heart pacemaker was large for her body and fixed in function, electrically stimulating her heart muscle to provide a normal heartbeat. Subsequently, her parents and doctors agreed that a new reprogrammable adjustable pacemaker would provide better lifetime assistance with less frequent surgery. Creation of the new pacemaker began with designs, detailed engineering drawings. Each detail, the electrical wiring, the arrangement of parts is precisely laid out. During assembly, the parts must be kept sterile. This clean room is as contamination-free as those used for assembling satellites and microcomputer chips. Each component is inspected, tested, and run through extremes of environmental stresses to make sure it will perform reliably when repairs are not practical. The pacemaker includes a radio control system which can revise the program at a distance and a radio telemetry system that sends reports on how it is functioning. Both systems are designed to operate after installation within the body. Not only the implant portion is tested, but also the accompanying reprogramming unit. Several weeks after installation, Julie returns to the hospital for a checkup. The doctors, using the radio command unit, check on its functions. This includes altering its stimulation pattern and other outputs. For Julie, this product of medical and engineering collaboration means living a more normal life. But each year, over 1 million Americans suffer their first heart attacks. 400,000 survive, but of them, about 50,000 more will die within a year of ventricular fibrillation, uncontrollable spasms that disrupt the normal heartbeat. At a hospital, electric defibrillation shocks are given to restore the normal rhythm, but most recurrent attacks happen away from the hospital. A new answer is an automatic implanted defibrillator, created by private industry, now being evaluated by the laboratory under NASA sponsorship. Placed in the abdomen just beneath the skin, one of its wires runs up through a large vein and ends in the left ventricle just above the heart. Another wire is connected to an electrically conductive cup placed just below the heart. When fibrillation is sensed by the implanted device, an electrical shock is given about 15 seconds later, which can restore the normal action of the heart. The implanted defibrillator, monitoring, diagnosing, and automatically giving emergency treatment for dangerous heart rhythms. A related problem, arteriosclerosis, certain imperfections in the circulatory system, may be due to blood flow variations. Studies have shown that the geometry of blood vessels, their bends and branchings, may be related to blood tube irregularities. Likewise being studied is the eye, including the flow of aqueous humor in front of the lens, failure of which leads to the condition called glaucoma. Studies of the cornea, the eye's transparent outside coating, may suggest new approaches to the problem. Another eye disease, diabetic retinopathy, the spread of new unwanted blood vessels in the eye, is being treated with laser light, an answer pioneered at Johns Hopkins. Such laser photocoagulation, burning out unwanted cells, can often save patients from blindness. Another aspect of biomedical engineering, artificial hands, are being improved by adapting ideas used in microcomputers and space vehicle servo systems. Without this artificial limb, for example, this amputee could not have lifted and carried such a heavy object. A pressing on the brain, high intracranial pressure, perhaps due to injuries or head surgery, can lead to severe brain damage or even death. A problem in diagnosis and treatment is precise measurement of the pressure. One procedure under test is a sensor which, under pressure, has different electrical characteristics. With the sensor inserted permanently in the skull, a physician can use an extremely sensitive metal detector to determine intracranial pressure variations without further surgery. Other experts have applied technology to hospital functions, such as preparing the details for advanced therapy, then setting timetables for preventive maintenance and repair. This computer database record system helps physicians respond to unscheduled visits and telephone calls. It can quickly provide the patient's recent medical history, prescriptions, and any unusual responses to therapy. while this larger clinical information system can give instant access to data on more than 30,000 patients. Run by technicians, a visual information processing scanner quickly extracts critical data from medical images. It can analyze two-dimensional echocardiographs that measure heart muscle walls, track tiny metallic heart implants in X-rays so to map the movements of the heart's ventricular walls and the heart's volume, and profile microscopic images to determine the size and shape of nerve cell cross-sections. Finally, a programmable implanted medication delivery system is being developed which may eliminate the need for taking pills or injections. Inside a person's body, the device will release measured amounts of medical substances at prescribed times. Dispensing insulin, it could aid in the treatment of diabetes. Dispensing other medications, it could aid victims of heart attacks, drug and alcohol addiction, epilepsy, and chronic pain. A key element are tiny valves, smaller than a dime in diameter. At prescribed times, a microcomputer signals the valves to open, releasing precise amounts of medication. Such controlled releases should reduce drug side effects and complications, often a result of variations in drug levels in the blood due to delivery by pills or injections. The nature of progress in biomedical collaboration is illustrated by the history of the artificial heart. In 1935, Charles Lindbergh and a French surgeon, Dr. Alexis Carrel, experimented with a profusion pump, a device to keep animal organs alive outside the body. It was ridiculed as a glass heart and a robot heart. In 1952, Dr. Charles Hufnagel devised a plastic aortic valve. In 1957, Dr. Wilhelm Kopf conducted tests of an artificial heart in dogs using this device. Many more experiments followed. The current modified Jarvik 7 artificial heart is mostly of polyurethane supported on an aluminum base. It's built in layers, each baked before the next layer is added. The diaphragms are made with alternating layers of polyurethane and graphite. This increases the material's strength, vitally important in any kind of heart. The finished Jarvik 7 artificial heart replaces the lower portions of the living heart, the ventricles, which pump deoxygenated blood into the lungs and oxygenated enriched blood into the body 40 million times a year. The biological heart expands and contracts in response to nerve impulses. In the artificial heart, compressed air is used to flex a diaphragm in each chamber. The result is the same, pumping the blood out and drawing it in. Copies of the Jarvik artificial heart have withstood over 4 years of continuous machine testing and have been implanted in hundreds of animals. Even so, the one used in Dr. Barney Clark, the first artificial heart recipient, suffered a broken valve which required emergency surgery. The current model has stronger valves, but this technology is still very much in the experimental stage. The ultimate goal of the project envisioned here, an implanted artificial heart that permits continuation of a fully normal life. More than 1 million people a year now receive bioengineered parts, from artificial joints to man-made lenses for their eyes. Today's biomedical researchers continue to seek ways to restore vital functions and alleviate suffering when the body becomes disabled. Aiding the human body, a natural marvel beyond any other.
Manufacturers Hanover has been pleased to sponsor this educational film. Manufacturers Hanover, it's banking the way you want it to be.
Thank you, Manufacturers Hanover, for that wonderful film about biomedicine and Yeah, it's part of that Screen Science Digest, although they call it the... So one of them is Hearst, and one of them is this Allegro film. And the Allegro ones all deal with science, and the Hearst ones deal with usually world events or history, not related to science. So, it seemed like they tacked on the Screen Science Digest, or the Screen News Digest, onto something that was actually a Screen Science Digest. So, anyways, let's see. There was a slight mention of NASA, and one of the things I threatened to do is show more films from NASA about early space flight, which led up to the moon landing, which actually happened. It's not an opinion, it is fact. And so this film is called Before Saturn, and so this is before the Saturn rocket launch, but this is everything that led up to it. So Before Saturn. Enjoy.
First of a line, first of a family of rockets which will open deep space to science and carry humans to other planets. Space is open to us now. This, the second half of the 20th century, a moment in time when our maturing space technology can begin to support the imagination of the past. Yet what is past before Saturn is important. It is easy to say, looking at the Saturn vehicle, this is a product of our space age. These are the people of our space age. These same men know full well that the journey to space began not a few years back, but a long, long time ago. How long? How far back? In ancient Greece, there was the poet Lucian. He tells of a ship lifted into the air by a great storm and carried to the shining island of the moon. But, said Lucian, these were things which were not and never could have been. And for 1,000 years thereafter, the men of science agreed. Everyone knew the Earth was the only world and center of the universe, and the stars, well, dots of light, illumination. Until in the Middle Ages, the great astronomers and mathematicians, Copernicus, Galileo, and Kepler, they said, there are other worlds, and proved it. Kepler went further. He conjured up the first human visitor to the moon, a man pulled by demons across the shadow which falls from Earth to the moon during an eclipse. Later, in 1638, 2 English bishops published serious works on travel to the moon. Fiction, to be sure, but regarded as a blend of witchcraft and satanic knowledge by their contemporaries. Still, it remained for the 19th century and its remarkable prophet, Jules Verne, to bring together the facts and fantasy of space travel. Space travel, announced Monsieur Verne in 1865, may be accomplished by being shot from a huge cannon, a cannon with a barrel 900 feet long. In his story, veterans of the American Civil War band together for the adventure. They sink the cannon barrel below the Florida terrain, and then are off to the moon within the hollow cannon projectile. Of course, in reality, the projectile would have fallen far short of the moon, but the velocity computations were surprisingly accurate. And astonishingly, Monsieur Verne hit upon a very familiar launch area. Today, the sites of our space launch areas are everyday images worldwide. And we all know that the rocket, free to operate in any atmospheric environment, is the ideal transport to space. But in the not-too-distant past, this was not readily apparent. It took men of genius in Russia, the effects of scarlet fever rendered Konstantin Tsiolkovsky totally deaf. Plunged early into a silent world of fantasy, his enormous talent quietly produced solid technical studies in a brand new field, astronautics. There were many visionaries, among them the remarkable Hermann Ganswind. His theoretical knowledge of propulsion was less than sound, but he did set down plans for a workable space vehicle. And moreover, he paved the way for the small group of European rocket pioneers who now appeared. Of these, one name stands out. Hermann Oberth came from provincial Romania to Germany after World War I. By 1923, at the age of 29, he perfected a complete series of mathematical theories on space travel. His book, when at last he found a publisher, caused a small sensation. In Europe, a stimulated public eagerly discussed Oberth's descriptions of rocket space travel. In America, the rocket remained the perennial pyrotechnic every 4th of July. Yet one man, working a quiet lifetime in self-imposed isolation, created a whole space rocket technology. In 1919, the Smithsonian Institution published a report. The author, an obscure New England scientist, Dr. Robert H. Goddard. Today, the Smithsonian houses many of the rocket artifacts of Dr. Goddard's career. They present a vivid profile of a step-by-step mastery of the theory of rocket propulsion and its practical application. The first liquid-propelled rocket flown successfully by Goddard. The first development of liquid cooling for a rocket nozzle. The development of fuel pumps. The use of vanes in the jet stream, coupled with gyroscopes for direction control. All these fundamental technical breakthroughs were Dr. Goddard's, and his work is embodied in every rocket which has flown since his work was done. And in his time, like the other pioneers, Dr. Goddard had his problems with the public, and particularly the public press. His professorial report somehow electrified the nation's editors, at least for a day. But within 24 hours, common sense prevailed, and Dr. Goddard received the editorial reprimand reserved for crackpots. Despite this, the idea of rocket travel was infectious. The widespread symptoms of the era became apparent even to the editor of the Times. People everywhere had rocket fever. And out came the fringe area rocket specialists to join the game. Any number could play. In Central Park, Prince Mikalikais demonstrates his invention. And there were rockets for boat propulsion. And in Europe, rocket race cars, rocket rail cars, rockets for ice boats, rockets for gliders. Through it all, aiming toward the true ultimate use of rocket power, space flight, the pioneers quietly sharpened their skills and tried to explain their accomplishments. Today, accomplishments are explained to a vast space news-hungry public. We accept space. We understand something of the rocket's role, and that of the rocket's passenger, man. But again, looking back in the dim recesses of history, who was the first man to try for a space flight? Ah, that's right. Who? Wan Hu. According to ancient accounts, this Ming Dynasty astronaut fitted his bamboo spacecraft with all the black powder fire rockets it would hold. And when the rockets were ignited by a platoon of pigtail technicians, Wan Hu was converted gloriously from the living to legend. In the 1920s, one man might have eventually created a real moon vehicle. He was persuaded to build one, quickly, for the movies. Professor Obert's space rocket for the film The Girl in the Moon, while technically accurate, was a hardware fantasy. It could never have gotten off the ground. With typical ingenuity, the pioneers appropriated the movie moon rocket and used it to raise research funds. And on both sides of the Atlantic, the store of rocket knowledge grew. In America, the young men of the American Rocket Society built and flew liquid propellant rockets. In Germany, the Society for Space Travel attracted the best young development minds in Europe. Among them, a promising student engineer who neglected his classes to work at the grandly named Berlin Rocket Airport. But with the approach of a second world conflict, the rocket once again went to war. Chosen to head the vast research and development project was the youthful Wernher von Braun. An early start, support by the German army, and the best rocket technicians, the first long-range ballistic rocket weapon came into being. And by 1942 at Peenemünde, the V-2 was ready for flight. The V-2 was still far from perfect, but the money and brains expended on its development had elevated rocketry from gadgetry to applied science. At the end of the line, the collapse of the Thousand-Year Reich, the acquired German rocket capability could still turn out 900 large rockets a month. Some of its skilled practitioners were lost. But at the request of the United States, many V-2 engineers chose to work in this country. At White Sands Proving Grounds, they joined with American engineers to resume rocket development. But once again, in the troubled air of the mid-century, rocket development meant development of rocket weapons. All the rocket scientists held fast, nevertheless, to their first faith, the rocket for the exploration of space. Along with the evolution of the missile family, the plans were itemized for the eventual and inevitable space project. Thus, when the Russian satellite Sputnik 1 opened the space age, Explorer 1 was placed in orbit soon after. The conquest of space had begun. Saturn followed, the necessary space servant of the nation. Designed to further the most ambitious space programs, Saturn was planned, built, tested at the George C. Marshall Space Flight Center, and ready for launch in little more than 3 years. But the huge rocket, the men who made it, and the men who fly Saturn are beholden, indebted to those who dreamed of space before them. The roster is long. At the top of the list, the visionaries of old, dreamers of a long-ago age of wisdom. Astronomers of the Middle Ages, the enthusiasts of the 19th century, the dedicated theoreticians of the 20th century. The development team which brought rocket techniques acquired in another land, another time, and for other objectives, to bear presently on the universal objectives of space exploration. For some of the pioneers, it is still possible to visit and to marvel at the giant their early efforts helped make possible. Some have become part of the team now working to create the Saturn family. But with Saturn and all men who work toward space, history begins anew each day. The fulfillment of the dreams of centuries is just ahead. The great events of history are now visible. Saturn, the space vehicle, now joins this history. Same history, new chapter.
As moisture is vital to all that grows, so too is it vital to guard this moisture. Use Princess Dial, the complexion soap with moisturizing cream right in it. As these water beads show, Princess Dial works to replenish the delicate oils that hold in moisture, hold out dryness. Princess Dial with moisturizing cream for the woman who has been afraid to use soap on her face.
Save your money while you save your hands. Get Chiffon, the dishwashing liquid that saves you up to 20 cents over most leading brands. Save your hands. Get Chiffon.
This is the wax that really cleans deep, because Pride is the wax you put on wet. You see how quickly and thoroughly Pride's deep cleaning agents remove all kinds of dirt and leave the surface really clean. Then you see proof that this is genuine wax. Now, for wax beauty that stays, just wipe off Pride's haze. There, so clean, so simple, so worthwhile. Pride gives the longest lasting luster and protection we know how to put on wood. No wonder it's the pride of Johnson's Wax. Now, let's go back for a second. What about cost? Pride shines an average table for around a penny, a clear, clean shine like this. And a big bottle of Pride gives you room after room of beautifully shined furniture. Get the big bottle and save. The big bottle gives you lots of Pride.
What is best for acid indigestion?
Millions of people use Rolaids.
Why are Rolaids so good?
Rolaids consumes 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid. The following demonstration shows how important this is to you. When you have acid indigestion, your stomach drips excess acid, causes heartburn, gas, that burning sensation. Rolaids, however, contains an exclusive buffering compound. Watch how it works. Rolaids protects your stomach with thousands of absorbent particles. Each particle consumes 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid. Result, Rolaids controls the steady drip of acid, gives relief that lasts for hours. So when excess acid causes painful indigestion, take Rolaids. Remember, Rolaids consumes 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid. Rolaids tastes like a mint, works like a miracle.
Some of these shoppers will soon have aches and pains. Will you? Will you? Will you? Some sore, aching muscles or minor arthritic, rheumatic pain, you need Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub. Because Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub gives you the double benefit of deep heating action, plus a fast-acting pain reliever, methyl salicylate, that actually penetrates into the skin and gets to work in the bloodstream fast. You quickly feel its deep heating action. For relief from muscular aches and pains and temporary relief from minor pains of arthritis and rheumatism, get the large economy size of greaseless, stainless Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub.
Save your money while you save your hands. Get Chiffon, the dishwashing liquid that saves you up to 20 cents over most leading brands. Save your hands. Get Chiffon.
So Protean, I'm forgetting. I should keep the list like right here. All the weird pronunciations, or at least that seem weird. So Protean, Rolaids. God, what are the other ones? You guys can mark it in the comments. And this time I'll keep a list. Let me say thank you to Mitch for the coffee. one way you can support AV Geeks is to buy us coffee. Coffee will help us make sure that the caption title of the film is correct instead of just. I noticed someone made the comment about the NASA film, and I realized, oh yeah, I forgot to change the title. So let's see. Let's watch this film, Dress for Health. I believe it's Cornet. It might be Encyclopedia Britannica. Here we go. Enjoy.
Peter and Polly are twins. They look alike, they dress alike. What one twin does, the other twin does too. But look at those twins now. They're going to school without their jackets. And it's really quite cool today. Sure enough, by the time school lets out, it gets even colder. Peter and Polly are chilly now. They hurry home just as fast as they can go.
I'm cold. I think I'm getting a cold. Me too.
Now, Peter and Polly know that they should have worn their jackets. Let's see why. Our bodies are making heat for us all the time. But all this heat is escaping. It's going away. So in cold weather, our hand gets cold. Let's put on a warm mitten. Now the heat stays inside. Our hand in the mitten stays warm and cozy. See how the fuzzy little threads of wool cling together? They help keep the cold air out and the heat of our body in. Sweaters and coats are usually made of wool to help keep the heat our bodies make close around us. Jackets and snowsuits are often made of cloth with threads that are very close together. The threads are so close together that they too help keep in our body heat. But on hot days, we want to wear clothes which will help us get rid of our body heat. Summer clothes are made of cloth with threads that are straight and smooth. The threads have little openings between them where the air can go in and out. This helps us feel cooler. Here's why. When we play hard in the summertime, our bodies have a special way to help us keep cool. Yes, when we get too warm, tiny drops of sweat show on our skin. We say we are sweating or perspiring. As the air dries the sweat or perspiration, we feel cooler. So in hot weather, we help our bodies keep cool by wearing light, airy clothes. Sometimes When playing has made us hot and sweaty, we may be too cool when we stop playing. Then it's wise to put on a light sweater. Now the cool breeze won't make our bodies too chilly. So in summer and winter, we choose clothes that help our bodies keep us not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Then we are comfortable. If you notice what people wear, you'll see how they dress to match the weather. Take your teacher, for instance. On pleasant, cool days in the spring and fall, she may wear a light woolen jacket or sweater when she comes to school. On warmer days, she wears light, airy clothes to help her keep cool. And in winter, she wears warmer clothes. When she goes out, she wears a heavy woolen coat to keep her warm. Yes, your teacher dresses to match the weather. In winter, the policeman at the school corner dresses in a warm woolen coat, too. Cold. And overshoes to help keep his feet warm and dry. Yes, the policeman dresses to match the weather. On rainy days, he wears a raincoat to keep from getting wet. And rubbers to keep his feet dry. He covers his hat to protect it from the rain. So you see, people dress to match the weather. The twins are dressed to match the weather, too. They wear raincoats and snug rain caps and rubber boots to keep their feet dry.
How do we know if it's going to be cold? Or warm? Or if it's going to rain?
Well, there's probably a thermometer outside your house. You can see what the thermometer says. A thermometer will tell you if it's warm or cold outside. When the red line of the thermometer is very short, it's cold. Then we need snowsuits or heavy coats, mittens and caps. When the red line gets a little higher, it's getting warmer. We still need sweaters or jackets to keep us comfortable. In the summertime, the thermometer goes up, up, up. It's very hot. Then we wear light, airy clothes to help keep us cool. The thermometer helps us to know what clothes to wear. And there are other ways to learn about the weather. You and your parents can hear the weather news on the radio or on television.
And now for the weather. Cloudy today and possible showers. The high temperature around 80. The low tonight around 60.
There's always a weather report in the newspaper, too. And your father can tell you what it is if you ask him. Partly cloudy with thunder shower likely by night. High in 80s. So you see, there are many ways to help you know what clothes to wear. If it's a rainy day, then of course you should wear your raincoat and rain cap. And don't forget your boots. If it's cold outside, then you should wear warm clothes like a woolen coat and mittens. If it's snowy and you're going out to play, wear a snowsuit that will help keep you dry as well as warm. And don't forget your cap and mittens. In the spring or fall, the weather may change very quickly. So be sure to wear your jackets or sweaters, or take them with you. And then, on some bright spring day, your mother will agree that you don't even need to wear your jackets.
Oh, boy! Yippee!
Yes, playing is so much more fun when you dress to match the weather.
As moisture is vital to this flower, so too is it vital to your skin. To safeguard this moisture, use Princess Dial, the complexion soap with moisturizing cream right in it. As these water beads show, Princess Dial works to replenish the delicate oils that hold in moisture, hold out dryness. Princess Dial, for the woman who has been afraid to use soap on her face.
What does clear floor wax do? Ask any bright floor. Ask linoleum.
Clear never yellows.
Ask vinyl tile.
Clear never yellows.
All bright floors will tell you clear dries clear as glass. It never yellows. You see, only clear contains Plexon, which makes it dry clear as this clean glass. Ordinary wax turns yellow on your floors like this tinted side. Wouldn't you rather have clear on your floors? Clear is self-polishing. Goes on so easily, then dries to a beautiful, long-lasting shine that never yellows. Along baseboards or in corners. For lasting beauty, what dries clear as glass, never yellows?
Clear.
Bright floors know it. Now, so do you. Try Clear. Created by Johnson's Wax.
With Miss Clairol. Hairdressers everywhere prefer Miss Clairol for its soft, natural-looking hair color, and because it completely covers gray. Keeps hair in beautiful condition. So when you see her, though you may wonder, does she or doesn't she? With Miss Clairol, hair color looks so natural only her hairdresser knows for sure. Visit your hairdresser regularly. Let her keep you looking younger, feeling prettier with Miss Clairol Hair Color Bath, the natural-looking hair coloring.
Among adults who seek to lose weight, more than 5 million have been satisfied by one product, Metrical.
I lost 6 pounds in 1 week.
I went from a size 16 dress to a 14.
I've been losing ½ a pound a day for the past week without going hungry.
Why Metrical? Only Metrical offers the dieter such a wide choice of convenient liquids, wafers for solid food satisfaction, and now delicious Metrical soups for complete hot meals. Use Metrical for 1 or 2 meals a day or for the total diet. Metrical satisfies hunger, as millions of users have found. It is the dietary with extensive medical proof of safety and effectiveness. The only dietary with 5 million satisfied users is Metrical. Would you like to lose your answer? And remember, your physician is your best counsel on weight control.
How many of these shoppers will soon have aches and pains? Will you? Will you? Will you? If you're one of the many who suffer from sore, aching muscles or minor arthritic rheumatic pain, you need Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub, because Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub gives you the double benefit of deep heating action, plus a fast-acting pain reliever, methyl salicylate, that actually penetrates into the skin and gets to work in the bloodstream fast. You quickly feel its deep heating action. For relief from muscular aches and pains and temporary relief from minor pains of arthritis and rheumatism, get the large economy size of greaseless, stainless Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub.
What does clear floor wax do? Ask any bright floor. Ask linoleum.
Clear, never yellows.
Ask vinyl tile.
Clear, never yellows.
All bright floors will tell you clear dries clear as glass. It never yellows. You see, only clear contains Plexon, which makes it dry clear as this clean glass. Ordinary wax turns yellow on your floors like this tinted side. Wouldn't you rather have clear on your floors? Clear is self-polishing. Goes on so easily, then dries to a beautiful, long-lasting shine that never yellows. Even along baseboards or in corners. For lasting beauty, what dries clear as glass, never yellows?
Clear.
Bright floors know it. Now, so do you. Try Clear. Created by Johnson's Wax.
Clear, never yellows. All right. Hey, Ned, thank you for the coffee, man. Very much appreciated. Yeah, if you guys keep buying me coffee for showing NASA material, I'll just keep showing NASA material. It's really a lot of great stuff there, and I have a bunch of stuff that was also video-born, probably close to 400, 500 hours of stuff that's really, some of it's really great, especially the aeronautic and space reports from the 60s, 70s, 90s, 2000s. It's all about technologies that NASA had things to do with. Anyway, so thanks for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow. If you like what you saw, just share, hit like, subscribe, tell people about it. And you can also go to avgeeks.com and buy DVDs from us, or just see other shows and other films that we've digitized over the years. And then finally, of course, coffee. We love it. It's supposedly could be good for us, depending on that threshold of how much coffee I have, because I drink it black and strong. So either I'm doing a great thing for my body, or I'm doing a horrible thing for my body, or I'm doing both. Deep, what did somebody say? Deep healing, or deep heating, deep hurting. That's what coffee is for me. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you again tomorrow, 1 o'clock. It will be our 416th show. So 416 shows. It's great. I love doing this. I'm happy that you guys are still tuning in and watching. And we'll just keep going, chugging along, watching some old 16mm films, because that's what we like to do. Everybody have a great rest of your day. As always, please rewind and love each other. That's what the inside of film cans tell us. They also tell us other things too, like stop, do not rewind. So I'm going with the please rewind and love each other, and not the police officer who's telling us to stop. But everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Take care.